Welcome back to the channel. Brad here, and I am excited today because the Maverick in me, it gets to come out. And we're just going to go ahead and put the disclaimer up real quick that none of this is financial advice or any other advice. It's Brad out on the internet, but he's excited today because there is new competition in the high yield space. It used to be just a few funds and you had to pick and choose, and you can only choose one. It is a blessing that I actually know all four, well, most of them, of the fund managers that's going to be doing this. And I can already tell you that they've agreed, for the most part, to come onto the channel. So you get to hear from them directly what they're doing with their funds so you can make a decision. Because, hey, I'm not going to take a bet on which one is going to be the winner. So I bought all four. Yes, I did. And we're going to make it a challenge. I'm going to go ahead and post this out every now and then. And I am going to do 100% drip. Not taking anything to live on. Doing 100% drip. It is going to be a manual drip because I already own blocks. And because of how Fidelity does it, they set up that they do a 2-day average of the price. And I'm just going to do a manual drip into these funds and show you the results. Because at the end of the day, total returns matters, at least to me. And we're just going to have a little fun with this because I think each one is doing something a little bit different. And what's it really hurt, because it's not a huge amount of money, but maybe one of these things will be a winner. But let's go ahead and look at some of these a little bit closer so you can get a little more comfortable with it. Well, I went out to Curve this morning, downloaded it. They didn't have a whole lot of options written. That's what I'm sitting there going. I'm not going to say anything. Not a whole lot of options, but let's really face it. AMD, Amazon, AppLovin Corp, Broadcom. I see a Bitcoin immersion, right? Coinbase. Let's face it, gold miners. Now, the only thing that I wish they would have done with gold miners is just go ahead and get Nugget. It's only 3x leverage. Anyway, a little more juice, if you know what I'm saying there. But that's different because when I look at the other ones don't have any gold in them, right? I just look at that going, that's interesting. I see iBit here, Shopify, the silver miners, which I already own, right? So I just sit back and go, we're going to see how this one plays out with Curve, because that might be an interesting one because they have a debasement trade in there. So we'll see how Howard explains this on Monday and what the holdings look like on Monday. And I'm going to have him go through each one so he can explain them to us. That is what I think of KYLD. That's what I'm going to call it because it was interesting, but we'll see how it plays out. Now, I did hear back from Rex Shares already today, and we're going to have the fund manager come on as soon as he's available to go through his portfolio of what he's managing. Because when I look at this, I see some of the same stuff in there, but I also like some of the other stuff. Bloom Energy. If you're not watching Bloom Energy, that's an interesting one. Don't want to give you all the information I know about it, but all I'm going to say is one of the most recent plays through Congress, and a bill that got passed had a little clause in there that's going to benefit Bloom Energy. Heard that this week. And I was like, that's interesting, that how something that, you know, maybe we didn't catch, but it was actually written in that great bill that got passed. So Bloom Energy might be something to look out for. And then I look at theirs and going, man, they got something, you know, what I'm going to call close to a butterfly, but we're going to go ahead and not look too deep at those options yet. Just want you to be realizing that they're doing something a little bit different, and they got rare earth, right? So they got some rare earth in there, which the rare earth metals, that's something else that needs to be played, and you can see good returns on that. But again, we got some Bitcoin stuff in there, and Gemini Space Station. That's another one. Because if I sit back and look at this, if you watched my interview with Matt Tuttle the other day, we're talking about UFOs. So you don't know where the next great investment might be. Yeah, I'm not going to bet on UFOs. Well, you know that David Nichols, yeah, if you've been following me on X, David Nichols and I, we kind of like each other. So David Nichols already accepted the challenge. We're going to have him on the channel again to talk about his fund, Blocks, because that has been doing extremely well since day one that it came out. Everybody was a little skeptical. I think Blocks is doing it right. Put spreads. If you watched Matt Tuttle, and I'm going to put that video at the end, we talked about put spreads. And if you want uncapped upside, put spreads are the way to go. That is how he's doing it. And you can see some of this stuff. Again, Galaxy Digital, right? That's different than Gemini Space Station, right? So we can see what's going on with Blocks. And they actually have a little bit of track record. But hey, I think Blocks is going to be doing just fine. We just have to figure out if the whole crypto thing is going to be going into crypto winter, and they're doing some interesting things different on Blocks. Alti, well, we've been watching Alti for a long time and just sit back and go, total returns seems to be okay if that's the way that you want to go about it. But can any of these new funds, well, we already know Blocks is actually holding its price, right? But can any of the new funds, be the new king of high yield? And I'm going to consider high yield 36%, thereabouts. I might even throw in some Chippy and GPTY every now and then because I own those too. Just want to see how these things are comparing. So the all out, I'm inviting every one of the fund managers to come on to talk about them so you can hear directly from them what they're doing. And I'm going to keep you updated. I think this is going to be something for you guys to be entertained because I clearly have them all in a basket at Fidelity. And the last one I want to point out is how can you beat LAYS? Did you buy it? Oh, come on. Why are you not buying it? It's only up 281%. Did you guys miss the boat? Anyway, Lays is something I do actually own. If you don't know, I own that one now. So just go ahead and see that Brad has a little bit of tolerance for risk. I did bring up all their websites. You can see that Yield Max has come out with their new website, and that's actually getting a little too fancy for me. My eyes kind of wander there. They got a distribution rate, they say, of 85, 86%. Okay, we're good with that. They pay weekly. That's another one. All these funds pay weekly, and that's okay. We're going to just take that as okay. And we just look at NAV. How can they? Wait a second. Net asset value market. And I'm looking at this going, all right, well, we know that your net asset value can't be going up. I think that might be total returns. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but we know it's not. Okay. Anyway, we might want to have a conversation about that one. And then we can see where their prices are. Now, one thing I did look at is gross expense ratio. Come on now, Alti. What's up there? Yield Max 1.4. That's a little bit high. Personal opinion, especially now that you have competition. So let's keep those out. And they do put their weekly distributions out on their website. If I look at Blocks, I see an expense ratio of 1.03, something totally different. And he's managing it, so it's about a 36% distribution rate, pays every Monday. So let's go ahead and put that into consideration. The next one is ULTY with an I from Rec Shares. And I noticed their expense ratio is a little bit cheaper. So I'm going to beat people up on expense ratios. Let's get these expense ratios down. I know you're doing a little bit more and you're managing a lot more with the options, but let's go. Let's keep these down a little bit. 1.25. And then the last one is KYLD. KYLD from Curve. I like Howard. He's a good guy. I think he's going to have a different strategy what he's doing, because what I understood from reading the prospectus is he's going to create a delta 1 position or beta 1, and actually is going to be able to ride the prices up because of how he's buying calls to outweigh going through the strikes. But we're going to find out exactly what he's doing on Monday when he comes onto the channel. But their expense ratio is 1.16. A little bit lower than ULTI, a little bit lower than ULTI with Y or an I. Just keep that in mind, that expense ratios do eat in, but at the end of the day, it's total returns. And that is all I'm going to share about this right now, because I really want to see which one does best. I'm throwing my hands out. I don't know. I'm going to sit back and say, I want to play all of them. And all the members have this in my portfolio on the circle so they can actually see it. I didn't put it in like this, but I'm actually thinking of just copying and pasting this in, because I can download it and just put it in there. They can see it and move on with it. That way they can see it fairly easy, because I show my cost basis, percentage of gains. Maybe I'll do that at the end of the day every day. That might be a whole lot easier than go ahead and copy and pasting and adding. But we'll see how I do it for them so they can see how this plays out pretty much real time, because it's not that difficult to do to make this little sheet. But now I want to answer some of the comments and questions that I see on that monitor, just to get to them, to say hi to everybody and see if there's any questions out there that's worth answering, because I do like talking to people out in the wild. Call you out in the wild. Oh, by the way, the TV set is for the High Yield Challenge. Gotta love it. Going to say hi. I see John. I'm at the airport right now. He's coming back from Mexico. Be safe. Hope you come back to the United States just fine. John's been a good guy. Good morning, Sean. What's your opinion of total count? Okay, so I did buy their BITK fund on Bitcoin. It's selling 0 DTEs. If you don't know, he's also doing the option trading for a little company called Tap Alpha with Psy. I showed a picture today when we were on stage at the CBOE. Matt Tuttle was standing right next to Psy. That's how Psy was able to come out to the market. So I do believe 0 DTEs is something different. Now, I am not going to chase down the whole UFO thing. If you watch that whole video, I'm just going to give up on the UFO thing. All right. But the oh no, but that might be something to think about. Because if you got oh no, like OH, no, when he comes out with that, his conversation is to say it will have a 1% decay over the year, but every time there's a major downturn, the price will go up. And I kind of like that. That way you can have something that you can hold as a hedge long term, and maybe just put 1% of my distributions that come in and just put it in there just to hedge any type of downside. I kind of like that. We're going to wait for that one to come out. I also like the put spreads. We see them in blocks. We know that blocks has done well because of put spreads. Let's go ahead and face it. If you're going to be long on something, a put spread is probably a little bit better than going ahead and getting capped with funds, which is going to get us down to one of the comments I saw down at the bottom, but we'll get to them. Redfish, glad you made it. Yeah, I bought it. Yeah, I already shared. I bought both of them. See how they're going to do. For an idea, dream team, we'll see. So, should YPay be included? I did not include YPay in there. I do have some of theirs. I'm just going to say some of them. I did not buy every single one that goes into YPay, WPay. Why? WPay. So I didn't buy every single one. I bought individual ones, put them in a basket. They pay me on every Tuesday, but maybe we can consider it. But that means I have to spend more money. So if you got more money in your portfolio that you want to send me to track it, feel free. But maybe I will add that. I'm thinking about that. Maybe we can add that, put it into it. I'll figure that out. If I can, it'll be on the next update because why not? Let's face it. Really, why not? So, Dave, maybe I will. The only problem with that is, let's start with this. They don't come on to anybody's channel to talk about their funds. Wonder why. Well, we'll just go ahead and throw it out. Blaze, yes. So, if you don't know, he's going to come out with new income funds around Christmas time. And I'm actually pretty excited about those too, because you talk about stacking, you talk about leverage. I mean, WPay is 1.2% leverage. Well, his stacking, well, you're buying 100% of the stocks and 100% of gold or 100% Bitcoin. And then you're going to do an income overlay on top of it. That might be interesting to watch because stacking actually makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad everybody's coming on. Brad, is it possible to ask Howard where KYLD fits into a portfolio? Small bond replacement. Oh, I didn't know if it's going to be a bond replacement. I'm going to pass on bonds, but maybe it fits in there. I think bonds, that's a slightly different animal. But yeah, I can ask him. That's a great question to ask Howard on Monday when he comes on. I'm going to record it. I should be able to post that up Monday evening for everybody, but he's coming on. Now, BEGS, that is from Total Capital. Gold, silver, 75% gold, 25% silver. And then they got 75% Bitcoin and 25% Ethereum. Yes, they're stacking it. So it's really two times leverage. It really makes it interesting because now you're getting some more leverage plays that you're seeing that this stuff wasn't available to us, but other people were doing this in these hedge funds. Couldn't help but notice the top holdings of SPY and QQQ are basically the same these days. Well, that's a good comment because I pretty much only hold the Qs now. I only really hold one fund actually on SPY. I went more to the Qs than anything else. I mean, I still have T-SPY, I got TDAC, I got QQQI, I got GPIQ, right? And I got QDevo, and I got KQQQ. There's a theme there. They all happen to be more or less looking more towards the Qs than actual SPY, but that's actually a pretty good statement. So hopefully everybody finds this entertaining and educational. We're going to play this, and I'm going to put this out, I'm going to say regularly. This might be a regular episode in about 2 weeks once we start getting some distributions and we can actually see how these things are going to play out. But I am having all the fund managers on come on to explain it. Yeah, let's see how this plays out. I mean, let's face it, we're only looking at the distributions. I don't think Curve wrote all those options yet today, but we'll see just how this plays out over the next 3 to 6 months. Who knows? Maybe one of these will come out to be a huge winner. And the other ones, well, I'm not too worried about it. I think their total returns will be okay. And then we'll just weed them down. So hopefully you get something out of this, and we'll watch them weekly. And like I said, I'll have the fund managers on. All right. just got here 9 stocks plus some cash. Yeah, well, they do have a synthetic on Bitcoin too, and they have a random. They actually have a random call on Amazon. I didn't see Amazon on the holdings, but there's a call sitting out there on Amazon, so they can actually just write naked calls and make income. They can do that. That is in their prospectus. It's also in there that can do delta ones, right? Create a beta of 1. So we'll see how he plays it out. And maybe this is something for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a little too maverick for you. Not everybody's a maverick. And I tend to try not to be a maverick. But we'll see how it plays out. So enjoy the weekend. It is Friday. And I will see you guys later. God bless.